Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Fit Fuel Female. Well, it's that time of year. Kids are back at school, activities are in full swing, and here's me recording this podcast outside of my daughter's dance studio, sitting in my 93-degree car, hoping that it doesn't go off throughout the duration of this recording. Life, right? Well, we got home from family vacation last week on a Friday, and let me tell y'all, that was no accident. See, I could have easily booked the cheapest flight or the one that got us home Sunday night, but I've learned something over the years. If I want to stay consistent, lower my stress, and actually enjoy both my family and my work, I have to build in some serious margin. So Friday it was. That gave me the entire weekend to unpack, reset, do the laundry, restock the fridge, and slide back into my normal routine before the work emails and the early alarms kicked back in. And yes, I still snuck in a little me time in that reset. On Saturday morning, while the kids were still in their pajamas, I headed to my infrared workout. I wanted that deep sweat, the kind that feels like it's wringing the vacation out of you. Every beach snack, every french fry, every fruity drink, every moment your body got used to at a slower pace. By the end of that class, my mind had already shifted from vacation mode to let's do this mode. And you know what? I really needed that mindset shift because I knew what was coming next. 2 days into the work week, I had a 4-day business trip. And not just any week, the week. First day of school. Now, if you're a mom, you know first day of school is non negotiable. You just simply don't miss it. You don't zoom in, you're there, braiding hair, packing snacks, taking the pictures, walking them into class. So I made it fit. When I booked that trip, I blocked my calendar, I picked a later flight, I made sure I could do drop off, hugs, tears, and pictures before even thinking about the airport. And yes, I rolled into that terminal with my makeup still fresh and my carry-on full of both heels and sneakers because life comes at you fast. That's my week in a nutshell. Friday return from vacation to reset, weekend to recharge and restock my habits, first day of school as a present, unharried mom, straight into 4 days of business travel without losing my workouts, my nutrition, or my sanity. And today, I want to walk you through exactly how I did it, the routines, the food choices, the mindset tricks, so that no matter what's on your calendar, you can still feel like you're running your life, not the other way around. Which leads me to my first lesson. I want to talk about core non-negotiables. For me, I've learned that when life gets busy, and let's be honest, when is it not busy, the only way I stay consistent is by having a few things that are set in stone. These are just my non negotiables. They don't change whether I'm at home, in Denver, in another city, or juggling a first day of school drop off before sprinting to the airport. So, what do? Well, here are 3 things. Number one, I pack my sneakers and I move every day. I have a pair of sneakers that's only for travel. They basically live in my suitcase. That way, I never have the excuse of, oh, I forgot them. They're always there, right alongside the heels and the cute outfits, ready to go. I aim for 5 workouts a week. Not 5 perfect cinematic workouts, 5 whatever I can make work workouts. This week, Denver altitude had me power walking on the treadmill at a pace that normally wouldn't even warm me up, and still breathing like I'd sprinted up 1,000 hills. At one point, I was pretty sure the guy next to me thought I was training for an Olympic speed walking team. But that's the thing. I still did it. I still moved. And that's the point. It's not about crushing a PR every time. It's about keeping the promise to myself so I leave the week feeling strong instead of sluggish, and movement over excuses. Number 2, healthy eating and hydration are a must, even on the road. Traveling is not my free pass to eat like I'm at an all-inclusive resort 24/7. Protein is non-negotiable at every single meal. At home, that's easy. Eggs, protein shake, peanut butter, done. On the road, I scan the menu like I am on a mission. Where is the protein hiding? And yes, I am absolutely that girl who will order something off the menu and then modify it so much, it's basically a whole new dish. Can I get that sandwich without the bread, extra avocado, swap the cheese for grilled chicken, dressing on the side? The looks I get, intense, but I'm fueling my body, not theirs. Sometimes that means eating half the bread on a breakfast sandwich, but all the eggs. Sometimes it means ordering the salad, then asking them to double the protein, even if the server's already mentally labeling me high maintenance. Hydration is a must. I travel with electrolyte packets like other people travel with gum. TSA may think that I'm running a side hustle out of my carry-on. If I'm not in a meeting, I'm drinking water. And my 2-drink max rule, still in play. Actually, this week at a client dinner, I didn't even hit one. I ordered Lyre's non-alcoholic Prosecco. And guess what? Nobody cared. It looked festive, I felt like part of the toast, and I woke up the next morning feeling fresh instead of foggy, especially in high altitude. And here's the thing. You can find healthy food anywhere if you want to. It's kind of like a game for me. I'll Google Map juice in any city, walk 10 minutes, maybe 15, sometimes in heels, and find some hole in the wall spot with the perfect green juice. Half the fun is kind of the hunt. Number 3, time for myself. I feel like we forget this when we're on a business trip because we feel that because we're traveling for work that we just have to be on 24/7. Like, no, you have to treat it like your schedule in some cases at home. And I know that can be hard when you have dinners or breakfast meeting, but you have to carve out time for yourself. Sometimes me time on the road, it's just the gym. And honestly, some weeks that's just all I can get. But this week, I actually had a random gap between meetings and a client dinner. And my nails, ugh, let's just say they were not Fit Fueled Female approved. So instead of cramming in more emails or pretending I was going to get ahead on work, spoiler, I really never get ahead when I try that. I walked myself right into a nail salon. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, sat back, and let someone else do something for me for a change. There's something magical about that tiny slice of time when no one is asking you for snacks, a status update, or your Wi Fi password. It was quiet, peaceful. And by the time I walked into dinner, I had fresh nails, a clear head, and way more energy to actually enjoy the evening instead of having to drag myself through it. These 3, movement, healthy eating, and hydration, and carving out even the smallest sliver of time for myself, are my anchors. They keep me grounded in the middle of weeks that could easily feel really overwhelming. And here's the thing. Having these in place makes the next part so much easier. The part where I have to switch gears on a dime. Because the truth is, I didn't just go back from vacation to normal life. I went from vacation to mom mode to business mode, and I had to do it fast. Which leads me to lesson number 2, the transition game. Here's the thing about life. It doesn't switch gears slowly. There's no gentle fade from one role into the next. It's more like a hard cut in a movie. One minute I'm in vacation mode, sand still on the bottom of my tote bag, and the next I'm in mom mode, making sure first day of school outfits are ironed. And 2 hours later, I'm rolling a carry-on into the airport, laptop in hand, ready for 4 days of business travel. That's the transition game. And honestly, if I didn't have a system for it, I think it would entirely wipe me out. So here's a couple of steps. Step 1, set yourself up before you switch. When I booked this business trip, I was intentional about timing. I blocked my calendar and picked a later flight so I could still do school drop off on the first day. No rushing, no missing the moment, no mom guilt. And here's the big one. I set boundaries before the trip even started. I told my team, I'll be on that trip, but here's my availability. I'm flying in after school drop off, so any meetings need to be booked accordingly. Period. No apologizing, no over explaining, just clear expectations so that I could show up as a present mom and a focused professional. That's the key. I don't just look at my work schedule, I look at my life schedule too. If I can make the transition smoother before it even happens and protect the non negotiables that matter most, I show up better on both sides. Step number 2, mentally close one tab before opening the next. I kind of treat each role like a browser tab. When vacation was done, I closed that tab, packed the bags, did my infrared workout, stacked the fridge, all those little reset moves that tell my brain, okay, we're home now. On the first day of school, once the hugs and the tears and the pictures were done, I closed that tab too. So I wasn't sitting at my gate scrolling through photos and feeling like I'd abandoned my kids. I could step into work fully and present. Step number 3, anchor to your non-negotiables. Here's where lesson number 1 comes back in. My movement, healthy eating, and me time are the constants that make these switches feel less like a whiplash. They give me something familiar to hold on to when the rest of the environment keeps changing, because it always will change. The truth is, life doesn't slow down just because we're switching hats. But if you can plan your transitions, set boundaries before the chaos starts, give yourself a mental off-ramp, and keep your anchors in place, you can go from beach chair to boardroom without losing your sanity or your sneakers. And then, just when I thought the whirlwind was done, the minute I landed from that 4-day work trip, I was right back in mom mode. Birthday invitations piled up, needing a response, first week of school forms stacked super high, and about 1,000 pieces of precious artwork waiting for me. Mommy, look what I made. One was a rainbow, another was a stick figure family, and then Lily hands me a drawing of Daddy with blood raining down on him. I'm standing there like, wow, you guys must have had a week. Perfect, a crime scene in crayon. Just what I needed to unpack from my carry on. That's the reality, right? Life doesn't pause for you to catch your breath. It just keeps moving, and you've got to find a way to move with it, which leads me to my power move. This week, I want you to pick your 3 non-negotiables, the things that keep you feeling like you, no matter where you are or what's on your calendar. They don't have to be exactly like mine. Yours might be a morning walk, a 20-minute journal session, or having a real breakfast instead of just coffee. But here's the kicker. Once you choose them, you need to commit to them. And when the week gets chaotic, you make them fit. Even if it means swapping days, shortening the workout, modifying the meal, or, my favorite, setting boundaries so the rest of the world works around them. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Consistency isn't built in the easy weeks. It's actually built in the busy, hard ones. So write them down, own them, and protect them like your sanity depends on it, because it kind of does. Which leads me to one of my favorite parts of the episode. What's been fueling me lately? This week, it's Vibe 5, my local infrared studio I go to every Saturday morning. Y'all, I feel like this studio deserves a major shout out. I absolutely look forward to this all week long. Vibe is my weekend reset. It's my detox, physically, mentally, spiritually. After a long week, especially one that includes 4 straight days of travel, walking into that studio feels like hitting a giant reset button. It's not just the workout, it's the ritual. Saturday mornings, I sweat it out, clear my head, and let go of whatever I carried through the week. I leave lighter, calmer, and ready to step into my weekend as me again, not just the boss, the mom, or the traveler. At 5 has become my anchor point. And honestly, that's what fueling yourself really looks like. Having something you can look forward to that gives you back your energy. So if you're in the DFW area, you've got to go try Vibe 5. So, y'all, whether you're coming back from vacation, juggling your kids' big moments, or staring down a week of back to back meetings and travel, remember this: you get to decide what fits. Your non negotiables are the anchors, your boundaries are the guardrails, and your transitions, they don't have to be perfect, they just have to work for you. Life's not slowing down, but you can still feel strong, fueled, and in control, even in the busiest seasons. And honestly, those are the weeks that prove you're not just doing the thing, you're actually living it. All right, well, that's it for this week. Now, go make it work in your way, on your terms. And as always, stay fit, stay fueled, and I can't wait to see you next time.